Hey guys, Jonathan here. I had a friend say that if I talked about politics on my new podcast or whatever it is I'm trying to do, he would definitely be game. He'd be in. He'd be there. And I want to talk about politics, but I don't want to offend people, and I know that I'm going to no matter what, because that's what politics is. It has the power to offend. It has the power to move people emotionally, to hear somebody else's opinion. Oh, my blinker's not working. I got to stick my arm out the window. That's what politics is. It's differences of opinions and, people trying to have their way. Whichever side, you're on, you want your way. Now, when it comes to politics and me posting or saying anything political, please be patient in waiting for me to do so. And then when I do so, please be patient with me for having my opinion, A lot of people share many of the same opinions, but almost all of us differ somewhere, and I think all of us really differ somewhere in opinions on something somewhere. I've never met a Christian that I'll use that as an example because I'm a Christian. I've never met a Christian that agreed completely on every single aspect of their faith as with another believer, even a pastor. There's going to be some things that you're like, are you sure about that? And most of the time, it's things that don't really matter. But when it comes to politics, sometimes it's things that don't really matter. We still get all excited. And I just want to kind of say that when I am being political, I hope that you see an attitude of love. I hope you see the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I hope you see that whenever I'm talking about politics or saying something that may be politically charged. I do feel certain ways. I'm usually fairly passionate about my feelings. So, but I also am respectful of other people's beliefs, other people and their opinions, that you have the right to be wrong. All of us do. That includes me. I have the right to be wrong. It doesn't mean I have the right to be a jerk about it. And maybe I have the right, but that doesn't make it right. Right? So, all those rights make a square, I think. Anyway, I just want to say, when it comes to politics, remember that your fellow citizen, your fellow American, they have the right to have a different opinion. They're probably going to agree with you on some things, whether you realize it or not. And they're definitely going to disagree with you, and that's where opposition comes in, heads, butt, attitudes flare up, egos get injured and also flare up. So whenever you're discussing politics with somebody, just remember that person absolutely has the right to have a different opinion, whether it's right or wrong. That opinion itself, they have the right to their opinion. And that's one of the great things about America, is we're allowed to disagree, and we can speak the most loudly at the ballot box. I'm all for supporting causes. I'm not really so much for denigrating or putting people down, but rather I'd rather build somebody up for doing well or doing the right thing. Putting people down, cutting them down, criticizing people that were created by God. They are my fellow creature, on our fellow human being. Whether I agree with them or not, they have a right to feel whatever they're feeling. whether it's right or wrong, whether they should feel that way or not. They feel that. Hopefully it's, genuine, it's sincere, and it's not a show. And they're, not just doing stunts. But, those are things we have to discern for ourselves. I don't want to judge anybody too harshly on anything if I disagree with them, if they disagree with me, because I have felt different ways than I feel now in the past. I have changed my mind on different things, several things. So, maybe I'm not as right on one thing as I used to be, and I do lean a little bit more left. Maybe I'm not as left as I thought I was on something, and I'm actually leaning more right on that now. Whatever those things may be politically, I want my center to be, first of all, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, that being first, the Bible. What does it say? How I should conduct my affairs, my behavior, how should I vote? Well, if Jesus was going to the ballot box, and he is, he's with me, so Jesus is going to the ballot box with all of us. How would he vote? And then the Constitution, almost as important, not as, but very important. The Constitution. What does the Constitution say? And is this person going to uphold what I believe the Constitution, but my interpretations of what the Constitution says? Because we're all gonna, just like I've mentioned Christians before, and I am one. Thank God. We have different interpretations. We can look at the same words and think that they mean something different, have a different take, and that's unfortunately how language works, and time works, and things change, language evolves, things develop, and meanings are taken. Man, you look at today's slang. My kids, what skibbity? Well, what is? Come on, man! And the other day, one of my teenagers said he crashed out. He was talking about somebody crashing out, and I was like, "Oh man, did he take a nap?" And he was like, "What? Huh? No, man, he totally crashed out." Threw a fit and basically acted like a 2-year-old. I'm like, that's not what crashing out is from my generation. I'm between Generation X and the Millennials. I'm an Xennial. I was born in '79. So anyway, if I was going to crash out, me personally, if I tell you I'm about to crash out, I'm going to sleep. I'm tired. I'm plumb tuckered out. I'm done. I need some rest. I got to recharge these old batteries. But nowadays, if your kid tells you they're about to crash out, you might need to grab them a straitjacket. Anyway, but words change, meanings change. Sometimes things get lost in translation. Even having to translate through time. So it's important to, I think, if you really want to know, what the authors meant, go read what the authors wrote. I actually have a reader on the Constitution and its founding and writing and forming and making, so that I can know, through like the Federalist Papers and all the documents and things that what we have as a history leading up to the document itself. Man, that's kind of important to give you a perspective on, where these guys were at mentally, what they were, worried about, what they were excited for, but you get a better perspective. And, sorry, I had to wave that guy through. I'll let big trucks go through first. It's all right. He's on the clock anyway. I'm about to go get on the clock, but he's on the clock. Anyway, so even Christians with the Bible, they may read a verse and interpret something different. Man, you could move a comma and Of course, there weren't commas back when it was being written, but you move a comma on somebody and you can totally change, what their faith looks like. So when it comes to the Constitution, do your research. If you want to, really know what something means or what they meant and how they felt about it, try to go do the work yourself and educate yourself on where these people were coming from. I think that'll help you in your politics when it comes to what your center is, and hopefully your center is the Constitution and the Bible being first. And if you're not a believer, then hopefully it's the Constitution. The great thing about America is you can believe in any God or no God and still be an American, still be free to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, the pursuit of happiness. We're not guaranteed happiness, but we're allowed to pursue it. And as long as you're not stomping on anybody else's right to life, their liberty, and their pursuit of what makes them happy, then everybody should be getting along. Unfortunately, somehow we don't. That's where politics comes in. Just remember, be kind. Be kind to whoever you differ from or have differences with politically. I would also put it out there that it's easier to sway somebody to your opinion and see things from your perspective when you're nice about it. I know I'm going to be a lot more receptive and respond better to somebody who approaches me gently, in a loving manner, in a friendly way, and just being like, are you sure you think that? Is that really what you think? Can you make that make sense to me? Because I'm not understanding it, and actually have a dialogue or conversation, but not be, pointing fingers, blaming, using curse words, being hateful. It's not necessary, and it kind of shows a lack of intelligence when you're allowing anger to speak for you. Anger can motivate you to say things, but place the anger where it belongs. Realize, where it's really being directed at or where it's coming from, and then proceed. But always treat God's creature in front of you that has a different opinion with kindness. That's love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. I'm about to pull into work, so I'm going to cut this off. Y'all, if you're in the Owasso area anytime soon, go stop and see Bobby Zielinski at Supplement Superstores. He will hook you up with quality supplements at a decent price. And I definitely recommend seeing him or Hudson. It's usually the two of them that greet me as soon as I walk in the door. So go give them a shout out from me and pick up some supplements and stay healthy. You can also go to Kava a couple doors down, get some very tasty Mediterranean food. I get the chicken Greek salad. Did I say that in the right order? I don't know. I just know I point at it and they go, mm-hmm. You want everything on it? And I say, mm-hmm. And then I change something while they're walking down the little deal. But Rain or Claire would be happy to provide you with excellent customer service and hook you up with some really good eats at Kava, right next to Supplement Superstores there in Owasso. So anyway, go give them a shout out from me. Tell them I sent you. And I just hit a pigeon. Man, that stinks. All right, guys. Well, God bless you. Have a great day. I'm going to end it with my little I love you song, because I love you just like Jesus does. We don't have to argue, fight, or fuss. No, that's not what God wants for us. But I want what he wants because I love you. Y'all be blessed. Have a great day.